Morning all. Welcome to a preview slash news video. And of course, there's some news today, but I'm going to put it into the news of the day. It's not necessarily entirely surprising. I think we all saw that coming, but we're going to do a bit of a preview on today's games. And yeah, this is going to be an interesting day for me for hockey after last night where Dallas came through and they won the game against Colorado. We'll see how things go tonight. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern, which is 7:30 p.m. Pacific, which is a perfect time to make it obnoxious for everybody. And I'm surprised because I really thought these games would all be at 4 o'clock Pacific and 6:30 Eastern. Or no, 4 o'clock Pacific and then 6:30 p.m. Eastern. Nope, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. It's fine. I'll get there. I'm really surprised that these aren't an hour earlier is what I'm trying to say. I'm surprised at where they've placed them. Because 7:30 p.m. starts are obnoxious. I've complained about them for ages in the regular season, and here we are. We're having them during the playoffs, and for some reason the games on the East Coast are starting at 5 instead of at 4. So I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyways, it's just one of those things that I see and I think, why are they doing it like that? But at 7:30 p.m. Pacific, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. There you go. I got it. The Vancouver Canucks will play Game 1 against Vegas, and Vegas, the storyline with them is simple. They're the best team in the West until somebody proves they're not. They are expected to go to the Stanley Cup final. They are expected to be the best team. Vancouver, well, they're underdogs. And they're embracing that status. Travis Green's embracing that status. Bo Horvat saying the right thing, saying we've got a lot of games left to win instead of games to play in interviews. This is a team that has really come together, and they understand what's on the line here, and they're taking it very seriously. Now, Toffoli is unlikely to play. Isn't going to be in the lineup. And the funny thing is, really without Toffoli, it hasn't made a huge difference. I think if Toffoli was good to go, if I'm Travis Green, I'm looking at that lineup and going, everybody's played really, really well. Sorry, Toffoli, you're going to be watching tonight because everybody's played really well. And Myers won't play. Myers not playing is more problematic, but Stetcher's done more with more ice time, and honestly, the Canucks blue line looks fine right now. So we're in this weird world where $10 million of their salary cap is out, and the Canucks are still getting good results. So for Vancouver and Vegas, this is going to be really, really interesting matchup. Should be a ton of fun to watch. And on the East Coast, this could get violent, and teams are admitting, yeah, we may see some fights in this series. 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, there will still be no Steven Stamkos, which would be really, really troubling if not for the emergence of Brayden Point and the fact that Nikita Kucherov is putting up some points. Now, the top line for Boston, not calling him that, the top line for Boston needs to continue to be the best line on the ice. If Brayden Point's line is the best line on the ice, this will go to Tampa. It's going to be the battle of line ones. Much like Dallas, Colorado last night, except those lines cancel each other out, and the scoring depth was on Dallas' side last night, which is as weird for me as anybody. Now, if it comes down to scoring depth, you know, I kind of like Boston there as well, if the first lines cancel each other out, but we'll see. This is going to be a really good series. I would not be surprised to see it go full 7. Would not be surprised at all. I'm just surprised at the start times being where they are, but I'm sure the NHL has an idea on why. Bruce Cassidy is surprised at the scheduling because of all the back-to-backs and all that, and he's saying, and he's right, why aren't we doing alternate days on that day? Like, it's just, it's going to be a tough series. The East, it's going to be tough. So those are your 2 games. Let me know your winners in the comment section below and all of that, because I know there are plenty of subscribers to this channel to track that. That's why I've never stopped doing previews. And let's get on to news of the day. Todd Reirden. It's fired. It's out. Capitals have moved on from Todd Reirden. Least surprising firing of 2020. And I don't think anybody's going to be mad about it. And no replacement's been named, which makes sense. Next season isn't until December is likely, although now with the speed they're moving through these playoffs, it could be late November, right? So no replacement's been named, and for the Capitals, there's a lot of, well, we'll see how it turns out, really. I think the team looked old. I think the team at times in the bubble looked disinterested during the round robin. I think the team looked like the motivation wasn't there. And Reirden himself said that. But as I said, when he said that in the news video after I said that, that could be put back on the coach. So in saying this team needs to be better, if I'm the GM, I say, why didn't you have them ready for that game? So that's where we're at, and we'll see if a new coach helps. Or if the Capitals and the Penguins, who have been the powerhouses of the Metro Division, are ready to slide down the standings. Because that's how it looks to me. Like we could see both teams take a bit of a slide next year. But hey, we'll see. Eric Johnson's status for Game 2 is unknown. He did come back to the bench in the third period last night. Didn't play a shift. So think like Zdeno Chara last year for the Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals where he's on the bench. He doesn't play a shift. Tells me Johnson, he was okay enough to sit on the bench and not need further treatment. But it didn't look good. And we're already looking at Hutchinson likely being the backup tomorrow with Francouz being the starter with Grubauer out. Now, Hutchinson's a veteran, but I don't think if you're Colorado you want to see him necessarily in the net. And Francouz had pretty good numbers this year. Francouz is a good goaltender, so we'll see how that goes against Dallas. He did have better numbers after he went in than Grubauer did before the injury, so we'll see. And then the topic that everybody was talking about yesterday is the agent for Marc-Andre Fleury tweeting out an image of Fleury with a sword in his back with De Boer written on the shaft of the sword, meaning he's stabbing him in the back for starting Leonard. Come on. Like, it's if you have a beef with a team over how your player's being handled, then just, discuss it with the GM. Don't go public. It meant that Fleury apparently had a meeting with Vegas management, and they're okay, and he's not leaving the team or anything. But it does look bad. He's got 2 years left at $7 million. He's got 14 million reasons not to suddenly walk away from the team. And the weird part is Fleury really didn't complain when he was the backup in Pittsburgh. He really didn't. At least nothing publicly ever came out that when Matt Murray was getting a lion's share of starts, whether it be regular season or postseason, I never saw anything from him. Fleury gets older, and I didn't think that he was playing great during the regular season. It's part of the reason they had to go out and get Leonard. Fleury was wearing down. And now they've got two options in net. I don't think it's a big deal. I think Fleury probably sees the ice against Vancouver at some point, but Leonard is rightfully the starter. And it makes everything awkward. I don't see anything good coming from an agent complaining publicly about a player's ice time or a player's situation like this. I've never seen it where a team has said, yeah, we gave the guy $5 million a year for 5 years because the agent was a complete dick to us on social media. So that's where we said, this is a good time to pull the trigger on an extension. We were going to leave him on the third line, but then we saw that post by his agent. We went, what are we thinking? And he went straight to the first line because, we were going to demote the guy to Laval, but then his agent came out and complained that we were putting him on waivers. So we decided to retract waivers, and he's going to be on our first power play unit because the agent complained publicly. It just doesn't happen. There's nothing good that comes from that. Again, work within the team. It's sort of like when a player comes out and just gripes about stuff, and it's like, couldn't that have been handled in-house? Like, I'm talking about ice time. I am talking about not getting chances. I'm talking about goaltenders not getting starts. It needs to be handled in-house. Because anytime you go public, it can lead to a really messy divorce between the player and the team. At this stage, not the case with Marc-Andre Fleury, but I'm really surprised the agent hasn't pulled the tweet down, to be honest. And again, if he doesn't pull it down, that kind of leads people to say, well, if he's not taking it down, Fleury hasn't told him he should take it down, which means Fleury probably agrees with the sword in the back idea. Not fun. All right. Jarmo Kekalainen, when asked about the future for the Columbus Blue Jackets, he believes in the kids. So, big UFA signings, he doesn't see a lot of benefit in that, and he's right. Again, we look at the 8 teams that are left in the NHL's playoffs. None of them have a contract $10 million or higher. Carlo Koliakovo tweeted out about that and said, hey, look, those big money contracts don't buy you a spot in the final 8. So, and it is the truth, and so we'll see if that still remains a thing and for how long. But I would say that Kekalainen's kind of right, but he does need to beef up the offense a bit. He thinks that guys like Bemstrom and Foudy are going to eventually be those scorers that they need, but they do need to have that goal scoring force out there. That, and again, Atkinson's done it in the past. I'm not sure that he still has that in his future, but they definitely need that in their lineup. So we'll see what Jarmo Kekalainen does, but apparently he's not enamored with the idea of bringing in a big name free agent and turning things around that way. So yeah, and then the Florida Panthers, who have already had other names tied to potentially being GM. Bill Armstrong's name came up last night on Hockey Night in Canada via Elliot Friedman. He's the assistant GM of the Blues. And Kevin Weeks, yes, Kevin Weeks from the NHL Network, apparently is in the running for the Florida job as well. So yeah, we'll see what Florida does. There's a number of guys up for the job that have been revealed publicly. Chris Drury from the Rangers is the most notable if you're a fan of hockey dating back 20 years. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see what the Florida Panthers do. They have to get this right. This is a team that needs to show some upward momentum. This is a team that needs to show that they're turning things around. And the new GM may be asked to do it a little bit cheaper than Dale Talon was doing it. Talon spent to the cap, and they still don't make the playoffs. So there may be a change in philosophy with the Florida Panthers. The next GM has quite the challenge ahead of him. So we'll see what happens. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding any of these articles or either of these games. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.